I think you should charge no less than $1,000 for your first wedding film, but you're gonna have to do this first. Hi, my name's Oliver Ward. I am a filmmaker, a wedding videographer, and I'm here today to talk to you about how much I think you should charge for your first wedding film. This video is a response or a caveat or a commentary on a video that Matt Johnson just released entitled How Much You Should Charge for Your First Wedding Film. Now, I have to say right off the top, Matt Johnson, or WhoisMatt Johnson, is the best resource on YouTube for wedding filmmaking. The information and tutorials and things he has offered to the community on wedding filmmaking over the past years has honestly changed, I bet you, the landscape of how people make wedding films. He is my favorite resource, so I'm in no way criticizing what Matt was saying. I'm just adding a little twist to what he said because after watching that video, it kind of made me think, that's not the advice I would give a young budding wedding videographer. So to wrap it up really quick, Matt Johnson in his video said that in the beginning, you should lower the costs of what you're charging in order to lower the expectation of what the client expects you to deliver. I know I just said expect like 5 times, but basically lower price, lower expectations, less pressure, more opportunity to learn without the need to deliver a really high quality product. Now, his backstory is in 2010, he was a dude with a camera in school. A friend of his was getting married and said, "Hey, will you film my wedding?" He was a filmmaker or in film school, and he thought, yeah, sure, I can do that. And he went after it. And he charged them $500 because he thought that was appropriate for his complete lack of experience. And I think that in 2010, that made a lot of sense. I think in 2020, 10 years later, wedding filmmakers are almost as common as wedding photographers. And there's a certain standard that people are now used to when looking at wedding films, no matter if you charge $500 or $5,000. There's just a certain baseline that is now expected. Good audio, a beautiful shot of the bride coming down the aisle, first kiss, the first dance, nice audio for the speeches. Like there's just, even if you're not charging anything, if someone has you there on their wedding day, they're having you there because they want you to help them capture these really delicate, beautiful moments that hopefully for them only happen once. I don't think there's a relationship between cost and expectation. How do I say this? I think the more you charge, the expectation goes up, but I think even if you're doing a wedding for free, there is a minimum expectation that I don't think you're gonna hit if you don't have some prior experience to your first wedding. So in Matt's case, he's saying lower cost to keep expectations down. What I'm saying is that there is a minimum expectation, even if you do the wedding for free. And my concern as a wedding filmmaker, I've been in the industry for a while now, is that when you go out on your first solo wedding, even if you're a hardened filmmaker that comes from documentary or film and TV, you're not going to be prepared for the pace and the chaos and the craziness of a wedding. My personal backstory, I was a director, a writer, a filmmaker. I worked in film and TV. I made my own short films. I'd been doing this for about 8 years. Then I had my first child and I decided I'd start shooting weddings on the weekends to make extra income to help support the family. Luckily for me, I didn't jump right into being a solo wedding filmmaker. I didn't start my own company right away. I worked for another company and I got to study under 2 phenomenal wedding filmmakers. I shadowed each one of them for 2 weddings, and then I was their secondary for 3 more weddings before I ever went out solo. So I had 5 weddings under my belt before I ever shot my own wedding. And that allowed me to see the timing and the pacing and the chaos and a few tricks to the trade to make sure you capture those moments. I've had wedding filmmakers tell me their first story of the first wedding that they shot who didn't train with anyone else, who didn't work on someone else's wedding before they went out on their own. And the experience was so bad. And the client was so disappointed because they missed out on these moments because they just weren't prepared. And you can never take that back. The stress of opening up your footage and editing and realizing that the audio was bad, or you didn't roll camera when the bride was coming down, or you weren't prepared with that second angle for the speeches, is so stressful when you're editing. And then at some point you have to deliver that to the client, and you're gonna feel stress, they're gonna feel disappointed, you're gonna have missed that opportunity to create them a very magical memory that they're gonna wanna look back on for years. And I don't think if you charge $500 or even if you did it for free, that would take away that disappointment, as well as the stress you're gonna carry with yourself professionally for the next few weddings until you figure out how to do this professionally. That's why I say you should charge a minimum of $1,000 for the first wedding that you shoot solo. But before you ever get to that point, train with other wedding videographers. Now here's a little tip. Before you work with any other wedding videographers, be upfront. Let them know that your intention is to start shooting on your own as well, and ask them for permission to use some of the footage that you shoot with them for your own portfolio. So then when you do get your first client, they can see some of the footage that you've shot so you can justify the cost that you're charging. So that's my little caveat. It's not a huge run on. I didn't want to go overboard on this. I just really wanted to add on to what Matt was saying, is before you ever go out on your own, make sure that you have a minimum of 5 weddings under your belt working with other people. And then also go through and watch every single one of Matt's tutorials, because that is invaluable. He's an amazing resource. So if you haven't found him yet, go over there now and enjoy. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thank you, Matt Johnson, for being such a stud and helping all of us in the wedding filmmaking community.